First of all, we will look through the definitions of coaching first. And if we use Google to search the meaning, right, of course, you will get a various definition. But then at the end, it will bring the same of the meaning, that is, coaching is unlocking a person's potential to maximize their own performance, whereby it helping them to learn rather than just teaching them. So in coaching, it's more than just being a coach and you lead them to achieve the goal or a better improvement in that person. But it also includes that you also as play a role as a mentor, whereby you are mentoring them. You are required to teach as well as to support them. Then you are also have a sharing space with them, which lead to more open space and also like feel free to share everything to you. So they will feel like more relaxed to share everything to you, whereby it also include the experience and also the skill that you are going to coach them. The other is like development, learn, knowledge, guidance, and also the finally success. So all of these are consumed to coaching. That's why when you are coach a person or a group of people, is that not an easy job, whereby coaching skill can be built by a practice, also you learn it. All right, so now move to the objective of coaching, which is to enable the pupil, either the individuals or a group of people, to broaden, develop, and also motivate each other to achieve improvement in their performance. So yeah, before move deeply, I just want to begin this coaching education by a simple quote, which is, a coaching is not for you and it is for them. Them in this context means that a person that you are going to coach for them to achieve a better performance. Now let's look what is the differences between coaching and also mentoring. Sometimes it's not realized, right? Coaching is the synonym or it brings the same meaning as mentoring, but overall it has their own differences, whereby if coaching itself, the result is your own answer, your answer, or actually you are asking the person. Like for example, you're asking them and you let them to answer by their own. Then you are focused on the potential, soft skill, personal development, and also self-awareness. Or you are using the applications of ability or skill to coach that person. Whereby if look in this slide, in mentoring, you are actually more on advising the person and also focus on the performance, competencies, professional development, rather than personal development of that person. And lastly is the application that you are using is the experience or also the practical knowledge. So the ideal coach or some elements of a coach that you can see through a person when they are coaching you, or maybe you yourself can realize when you are coaching a person. So first of all is like good coach is self-aware, means that you understand yourself, you understand what is your coaching style and also how it is perceived and received by the people that you are going to coach them. Whereby this is the first step to becoming a valuable and also effective coach. And also the second one is you know the strength and also the weaknesses of that pupil. So in this context, you can better utilize and also get the most out of them. The third one is ideas, means that you seek out of ideas and also make those ideas as part of the solutions. And then the next one is like a good listener. You always listen to others and also you try to understand their point of view, like you are not blaming them but more to understand them. And also good coach also do like encouragement and also optimism when both either easy and also difficult issues are being discussed. So some of the issues that nobody want to bring as a discussion and want to solve it. So you as a coach, it is your job to make the issue less intimidating, also less conflicts. And the last one is the follow-up, whereby you follow up the whole process of your coaching.
After we have talked about all the elements that falls under a coach, and then we have gathered all the information into 3 categories. The first one is communication. So communication, one of the most important skills under communication is deep listening, or in other words, it's called active listening. So deep listening is something that you give your members an undivided attention. And most of the time, a lot of people think it's easy for us to master because it's just as easy as listening to others. But it's actually not, because deep listening is actually to listen to your members on what is not being said instead of what was said. So, and then for you to really get the best out of it is that during the conversation, you should always put away all the thoughts, or put away whatever is happening around you, and really focus and observe and being really present with your members in the moment of the conversation. And then by doing that, you are able to ask follow-up questions, which is why the second skill is that to ask the correct and effective questions. Because once you are able to ask those powerful questions, you are able to have a deep reflection on what they are sharing or what they are thinking, and also to understand what are their mental states. That also offers you a clue to help them in the future. And overall, it's important that to be able to understand whatever challenges that they are facing. Okay, so moving on, next will be performance management. Okay, so first of all, the first important coaching skills to possess is that you have the ability to elicit clear and achievable and also well-defined goal for your members. Okay, to help them and also to evaluate the goal, we can always use one of the goal setting technique, which is the SMART tool, which is what we have been using all the time, the SMART goal. And then throughout the process, it's important that you are able to identify their strengths and also weaknesses during the operation amongst your members. And also another skill that is extremely important is that you are able to eliciting new ideas. So what does that mean is that it is as simple as you are able to show your members your own new perspective or come up with your own new ideas. Because as far as I'm concerned, that a coach has a lot of experience, has many different kind of views that could actually bring benefits to your members. And then in other way that we can also direct them in the conversation to force them or to encourage them to think or find new ideas and challenge them their current reality. Because most of the time in our generation, we always accept the ideas or suggestion as it is. We always convince ourselves that this is the best way and there's no way out. Okay, and then we are always stuck in this fixed mindset. Okay, that ultimately hinders us from growing and also developing. And then lastly is to establish impact, to show members that their effort and contribution are actually contributing to the LC growth, and at the same time able to boost their confidence and motivation. Okay, so moving on, next will be emotional intelligence. Okay, so this aspect is more on relationship and your bond between your members. So one of the skills is that you are able to build a rapport that because it is actually a key or a gateway to building trust within your members. So, and then coaching sessions or whatever things that you are saying will not be able to work without the trust that your member have in you. So it's really important to have a good relationship with your member. And by having a really good rapport with your members, you will be able to create a comfortable environment for you to relax, and also for your members to feel safe. So it also creates a safe space for your members to voice out what they really think and also whatever their concerns are. So from that, you are able to read their human behaviors, which is also one of the more important skills that a coach should have, because that way you will be able to understand how they work, how they operate, or what makes them frustrated and what makes them motivated and stuff like that. Okay, so lastly, another thing is that another useful technique is that always ask your member to list down whatever fears that they have. Okay, so for instance, maybe they are fear of public speaking, or maybe they are fear of embarrassment because of, and then they couldn't be themselves because of the embarrassment. And then so we have to find out what are their fears, and also that influence their actions. So that way we can find a proper solution to tackle their fears, and ultimately we'll be able to convince them to be more courageous to face their fears. So now, so we all know what a coaching is at this point, and then now we would like to see how a growth model, which is the example that I use and also widely used among all the other companies outside the growth model. So what does it stand for? So growth, G stands for goal, R stands for reality, O stands for options, W stands for will do or way forward, and T stands for tactics, H stands for habits. Okay, so I'll explain more on each alphabet, the meaning of each alphabet. Okay, so goals. First thing is goals. So whatever you start, you always have to have a goal. So for example, you can always ask powerful questions, because once you ask powerful questions, you'll be able to get the answer that you want, and will also be able to inspire your members. So the few questions that you can ask is, what would you like to achieve out of this session, or what would you like to achieve from joining this organization, AIESEC, or what is the best results that you can think from this action and stuff like that. Okay, so this is the fundamental step that you should always start from whenever you are coaching someone. Okay, so next. So the next one will be reality. So reality is the ability for you to assess the current situation or what's happening around you. So the few questions that you can ask is like, what is your current situation? What's happening around you? What's happening in your LC or in your department? Or what's your concern about it? About what affects your goal? And also another example is that what actions have you taken so far in achieving your goal? Okay. All right. So next will be O. It stands for options. So once you have all this, once you identify your goal and your after you assess your current reality, and then you will have a lot of options. Options is which means that your resources and your support that you have around you. So the questions that you can ask, for example, what are the steps you can take now, or what are the options available for you to achieve your goal? Who can help you, and who can you get help from? Okay. And then next would be W. W is your way forward. So way forward is that simple. What are the next steps? What are you going to do? Okay. Okay. Next would be T is tactics. So obviously, anything that we do, we always have to have the perfect strategies, perfect tactics to get the best results. So the question that you can ask your members that throughout the process is that, what strategies do you need to make this happen? What are your ideas to ensure that everything works out well, and how will you do it, and are you sure this is the best way, and all stuff like that. Okay, and then moving on will be the last one is H, which is habits. And then this is actually quite important, because once in a while, after you have achieved so much in your, for example, in your LCVP term or your director term, you always want to know that can your successor benefit from what you have achieved, or what can they gain from your own success? So, and then you should have a proper framework or way forward for your successor to learn from you and to get all the benefits from you, so that it will ease their process when they are undergoing their director term, for example. And then also another question that you can ask is that, how can you incorporate with your success in other part of your life? Okay, this is something interesting that I found on internet, which is from Mind Valley. Okay, so this is something, it's called like a simple coaching model. Okay, so the first element is show up, and then the second element is respond to what shows up. Okay, so show up is something that you don't have to memorize, or you don't have to, there's no SOP for it. Okay, you just have to make it your coaching session as part of your life. Just put yourself into the session. Okay, so how can you do that? Is by showing up. So showing up, it doesn't mean that you will be physically next to your members or what. It could be, but the most important thing is that you have to be mentally present for it. Okay, so once you are being present in that moment, and then you have the awareness about what's happening, and throughout that, you will be able to, it does two things, okay, from being present in that moment with your members, is that the first thing is that you get to create a deep connection and also to build a good rapport with your members, okay? So how do I say that? So by having a deep connection is that you will be able to create a different atmosphere or a coaching environment like never before, okay? It's so connected with your member and there's no barrier at all. Okay, and it also at the same time will opens doors to a lot of ideas or insights and also new perspective on how to do that, on how to do this. Okay, and then once you are consciously, genuinely diving into the present of the conversation with your members, okay, there will not be any step-to-step process like what I just said initially. You don't have to memorize. There's no SOP for it because you are just creating the results of creating the impact just by as simple as listening to your members and being present. Okay, so the second element is respond to what shows up. Okay, respond to what shows up is simple. It's just bringing your understanding on how human beings work, like what I just said initially, how they function, how they operate, and stuff like that. So, and then when you have that skill, and then you'll be able to respond to what shows up because you understand what are their values, you understand what are their personalities and character, and then how they work. So when you have the good understanding with your member, it allows you to respond more easily and to know automatically what you should do and what's your next step. And then to also be able to ask powerful questions to your members because by asking powerful question, effective question will trigger their mind, maybe will give them that wow factor. Oh my God, this thing is, I have never listened to this before. And then to trigger the transformation in them. Okay, so after this, throughout everything, they will gain a new experience. So as they experience something new, you just shows up. You simply just shows up again, and then you show up again on what's showing up. So it's like a cycle, it's a process. They experience something, you show up, and then you empower them, and then another process, you go on. So this process is repeating. Okay, so this is a special thing about this simple model.
So now I'm going to say about the effectiveness. This is a section about following up section after your coaching experience. So moving to the first slide. So why we need to have this section about following up? It is when we can know that it is coaching section help your coachee, is that effective? And also how this coaching experience help your coachee. And also what has happened when the coachee execute his or her solution. Other than that, we can also know that is the coachee facing any challenges while executing the solution that he or she found out. And lastly, is the most important one, we can know that the final result of the issue. So moving to the next. So what we can use to following up means how to following up. We can use two methods. Like you can always ask yourself these questions. What can I do to support my members' development between now and our next coaching meeting? The next one, you can ask yourself about what did my coachee learn? What is the key message were reinforced in the meeting? All this is to follow up on agreements. We can like allocate a time for coaching section and strictly follow about it. We can always assess our own performance as a coach and asking ourselves about, am I meeting the needs of each person on my team? We should purely check with everyone you are coaching about what is you're working and what is not. But this is, you should trust your judgment. And how to justify the judgment if you don't understand, maybe as a coach, you can consult the other coach for further details. And also ask about, am I holding up my ends of the bargain? Because coaching is a two-way street. So to be honest with yourself about whether you are getting in the way of the people progress or sending mixed message about your expectation. So just do what you can to make everyone of your team to become more successful. So So moving to the next slide, we can evaluate this from using two methods. The first one is we should follow the three different perspectives. This evaluation should examine the impact of coaching on individual and also on the organization, and also effectiveness of the coaching. The last one, we can also using tools like performance appraisal and also the leadership development assessment